Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pastor Bruce. Welcome to amvoice.net, One Man's Voice. Today is May 24th, 2018. And I want to talk to you about two things: draining the swamp and taking a knee at football games. Now, if you go back, for all of you Democrats who don't want to listen to Fox News or pay attention to what Fox News is saying, that's fine. Just go back, go to YouTube, and go back to Donald Trump talking about draining the swamp. And what you're going to hear is enthusiasm, excitement. We're going to drain the swamp. We're going to make things better for America. The reason I bring that up is because Nancy Pelosi and crybaby Chuck Schumer are sitting there today now using that line, draining the swamp. But now, almost 2 years later, it's Donald Trump that we've got to get rid of. Donald Trump is the problem, that we've got to drain the swamp. But the reason I say it is because listen to the way they say it and listen to the way Donald Trump says it. There's enthusiasm with Donald Trump. There's no enthusiasm with the Democrats because they know it's a lie. And they're coming out there saying this stupid, ridiculous statement, thinking that you, Democrats, are stupid enough to believe that they want to drain the swamp of Donald Trump. What's Donald Trump done? Okay, you go back to the day after he won the election. Maxine Waters comes out and calls for his impeachment. Right from the first day out. Now we're seeing, in almost 2 years of investigations, that, oh, look out, 2 of the top FBI officials lied. And they fire people for lying. And they got fired. And, oh, James Comey, he's so sad. He's going to get back at the president for firing him because he was incompetent and didn't do his job. And he got fired for that. Not for lying, for being incompetent and not doing his job properly. Now we come to find out he didn't do his job properly. That's draining the swamp. Get rid of the incompetent people. What is the Peter Principle? Promote to the highest position of incompetency? And isn't that what they did with Comey and McCabe? Andrew McCabe, they fired him. They got rid of him. And when you're talking about McCabe and Comey as well, because he got fired, he lost his retirement. They both did. And that's the way it should be. And if you paid attention to anything, you'll see that McCabe was supposed to get like a $1.8 million retirement package. Nobody. Take a hike. You lied to the American people. You tried to do things that were illegal. And I hope they bring a prosecution to them. That's the only thing I care about with the Republicans, is that they need to get a backbone and a set of balls, basically, and say, we're not putting up with this. We're bringing people to justice. And we're going to start arresting people and bringing them to court. Now, the question on this spying on the American people, which now Clapper comes out, just like Comey, he's stupid. He comes out and goes on talk shows like The View and says, no, we didn't spy, and then admitted to spying. And at one congressional hearing, when asked, yes, they spied on some Americans, and they can't go into it any further because why? They were spying on Donald Trump, and they won't admit to it. And the fact is that that's what they were doing. They were trying to create problems, and they're still trying to create problems. And they've got the propaganda machine called the mainstream media attacking them, the Republicans and President Trump, so that nothing can get done in this country. But yet Donald Trump knows how to bulldoze his way. You need a bully now. You have to have a bully in office. Because if you go back and talk to the Mitch McConnell, he'll tell you they can't bring any bills up on the floor for a vote because the Democrats refuse to vote. What he should do is start bringing the bills up and watching the Democrats one after the other refuse to vote on it. And then there's the power of the press. There's the power of the government coming out and saying, look it, this is good for the people, this is good for the people, this is good for the people, and the Democrats refuse to vote. Therefore, the Democrats don't care about the people. So we have to ask, what do the Democrats want? They want to drain the swamp. Oh my gosh. Okay, they want to impeach Donald Trump. Oh my gosh. From day one, they want to impeach him. There's nothing out there to impeach him on. He hasn't broken any laws. But that's what they want. They want to hold this government hostage. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what a banana republic is all about. This is what socialism is all about. Is that they go out there and they create so much havoc that the government can't do its job. But look at what Donald Trump is doing. His job. He got the tax reduction through. He got the new tax plan through. He's brought businesses back. The lowest unemployment in years at 3.9%. And people are working. People are making money. People got bonuses. They got pay raises. Nancy Pelosi thinks that that's crumbs. Well, it's not $1,000 bonus. Is not a tax incentive. $1,000 bonus is extra money to low class, middle class people who are struggling to make ends meet. That $1,000 is a lot of money. I had a customer, business customer, came in. He's got like 15 credit cards. And he needs the credit cards in order to keep surviving in this country, plus keep his business thriving. And he says, well, I was going to use the money that I got, but I don't think I'm going to get any money on my tax return. And I said, well, let me put the books together for you. And I did. And I put everything in the way it was supposed to be put in. And he came back with a refund. And he was amazed. And I says, don't worry about it. And he took that money and he paid off his credit cards. Now he's taken a couple of them, put them in the drawer. He's not going to use them. He's learning to pay his way down. You see, the Democrats would sit there and say, no, just go spend the money and keep your credit cards and we'll make debt payments. I told this to my daughter years ago. I says, if you buy something on sale and put it on a credit card and take 6 months to pay it off, do you really get it on sale? You actually pay more for it than what it was in the store. And she goes, no, you don't. I said, yes, because of the interest that you're paying on the credit card, you're paying more for that product than if you would have bought it with cash or paid the credit card off as soon as it came in. See, that's the Democrats. They said just spend, 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 spend. And even as this last bill that they passed, where the Republicans went along with the spending and increased it $21 trillion. See, all those lawyers in Congress do not believe in paying down debt. It's not their debt. They're rich. They've got money in their pocket. If this country goes into a depression, are they going to hurt? No. That's why they don't care. And that's what the Democratic Party has started to do. And that's trying to destroy this government, bring it down, put us into a depression so they can come out as victors, rich victors, who will change us to socialism and dictate to us how we're to act. So really, if you listen to Nancy Pelosi and crybaby Chuck Schumer about draining the swamp, they are the swamp people. And the thing is, if we can get more Republicans in Congress that we can start making changes, they're going to get rid of Nancy Pelosi as the Speaker of the House because they don't want her there. She's destroyed. They've lost over 1,000 seats under her guidance. And if they lose more seats in the midterm election, she's gone. And that's what we want. We do not want this grandmother sitting there dictating to us how we're supposed to be. If you sit and listen to her, some of the things that she say are outrageous. And it's time for her to go. That's the old guard. I'm 65. She's the old guard. Get her out. Chuck Schumer's the old guard. Get him out. And that goes along with Taking a knee in NFL. I don't know that segue. 2 years ago, Colin Kaepernick took a knee to protest police brutality. At the end of the season, the protest was not about police brutality. It was about Donald Trump. Protesting Donald Trump. And it's absolutely amazing that for 2 years, this has been going on. Now, here's the problem with that. They're bringing light to a problem, police brutality in America. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when you have the FBI, you have ICE, you have ATF, you have state police, county police, city police, town police. You've got thousands upon thousands of police officers. When you look at the police brutality compared to the number of police officers, compared to the number of days in a year, it's insignificant. There's really nothing to talk about. Yes, we got some bad cops out there. Don't get me wrong. We do. We have racist cops on both sides of the fence, black and white. We have some racist Latino cops out there as well. But it doesn't matter. As long as they keep their own opinion to themselves and do the job the way the job's supposed to be done, that's fine. But some get caught up in the moment and are brutal. They question the shootings that occurred. And so, yes, there is some police brutality. Just like I say, there is some racism. This country is not a racist country. But there are racists in the country. The media, if you don't open your eyes and understand this, the media blows it up to make it sound as though 90% of the country is racist, that all of the Republicans are racist, which is outrageous. But you believe it. And it's only a small minority that's racist. But the racists are not in the Republican Party. They're in the Democratic Party. And you're stupid enough to continue to vote for them. As Albert Sharpton said after Clinton left the White House, he was on New York Talk Radio show. He sat there and said that Clinton lied to the black community and didn't follow through with his promises. But yet he got the black community to vote for him, didn't he? By lying to them. And they continued to vote for Democrats. Blacks are now starting to come out in the communities and saying maybe the Democrats aren't all what they're cracked up to be. And that's a possibility because more Democrats are black Democrats are turning to the Republican side. And that's good because then when we start putting more Republicans in there, our democratic republic with a capitalist system can grow stronger. Understand that. Lowest unemployment rate, 3.9. Haven't seen that in 17, 18 years. Lowest black unemployment rate, lowest Latino unemployment rate in this country under President Donald Trump. And yet the Democrats think he's the swamp. Think about that. He got you pay raises. He got you, some of you, bonuses. He opened up the market. We have more jobs now than we have people willing to take the jobs or capable of taking the jobs. Why? Because he's opened up the market. Make America great again. Here we got jobs. People go out there, get the education, and fill them. And start paying off what you need to pay off. You know, when more people go to work, you know what you need? Less welfare money. When more people are working, you need less food stamps. When more people are working, you can cut back on low-income housing because people want to go out and own their own home and buy their own home. Unlike Barney Frank years ago, when he said everybody deserves a home, house prices went skyrocketing, loans went skyrocketing, and then they increased the interest rate and nobody could pay them, and they took all those homes away from those people. Donald Trump's not like that. He wants you to have your own home, but you need to earn it. So what does that have to do with taking a knee? Plain and simple, what are they trying to talk about? Police brutality. Have they sat down and talked about police brutality in this country? No, they haven't. Why haven't they? Because it's unimportant. It's insignificant compared to the number of policemen, the number of days in the year, and the number of incidences where police brutality occurs is minute. I was doing there was a young man killed at an intersection near the base that I was stationed on. So my commander came to me and said, give me a survey study about this. So I went out and I gathered all of the information. And over a 10-year period, the number of deaths was like 0.004 compared to the amount of traffic that goes through this T intersection. It was a drunk. Think about this. It was a drunk who created the problem. But somehow, the father of this teenager blamed the way the intersection was created. And I went out and I did the survey. I got everything taken care of, and I came back and I wrote a little piece on it, and I said, there's nothing wrong with the intersection. And the way I put it, my commander says, well, that sounds a little insensitive. I said, well, it's the truth. I mean, when you're looking at 0.0004 number of deaths, number of incidences, even without deaths, that was so insignificant that we did not have to reshape this intersection because of this one complaint. But that's what he wanted. He wanted to change the way the intersection worked. And you can't do that when there's no reason for it. He was just venting, and I understand that, and I sympathize with him. That's like in Peterson, the black kid getting shot. Nobody bothers to ask why this kid stuck his head in the window and tried to take the policeman's gun. No one asked why he punched the policeman out. You didn't hear it on the news. These are questions that need to be answered. Why did he do that? Why did he stick his head in the car? Because he thought he could. He thought he could because he's a black man. And we have to bend over and kick the black butt in this country because, their ancestors were slaves. And we have to show them more respect. I mean, come on, people. Really, that's the Democratic philosophy. Don't worry, black community. We're taking care of you. We're going to get the white community to bend over and kiss your butt. We're going to get the white community to do whatever you want them to do. Because why? You deserve it. Because your ancestors were slaves in this country. By the way, take our food stamps, take our welfare, take our low-income housing, and you don't have to work because you're slaves today, too. And that's what we want. We'll take care of you, but we're going to take care of you as slaves. Compare you to back 200 years ago. Why? And then when Kanye West comes out and says being a slave is a choice, the black community's up in arms at him. Up in arms. Why? Because he's telling the truth. I will say it again. I've said it before. Slavery ended in 1865. From that point on, if you chose to be in the servitude of something other than yourself, you're a slave. And that's a choice. And when you take welfare and you take food stamps and you take low-income housing, and this is not only related to black people, this is related to whites and Latinos, because with the exception of Latinos, there were white and black slaves back in the slave period as well. The N-word that nobody wants to use, have they ever defined it for you? Means unintelligent and illiterate. Yes, all black people that came here as slaves were that way because they didn't need to do it back in their home country. But we had white people who were too stupid to do anything good, so they had to become white slaves. You don't hear about that, do you? You don't hear about the white slaves. And then you have what they call Uncle Toms. Those are the black slaves that were able to get a leg up over everybody else, and the slave master put them in charge. And so in the 60s, when black people went and sided with whites, they were considered Uncle Toms. Today, you got the Black Caucus in the Democratic Party, not the Republican Party, the Democratic Party going along with what the Democrats want from you. They're the Uncle Toms. Albert Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, they're the Uncle Toms. They're getting you to do the Democratic bidding so that they can remain in power. So take a knee for police brutality, you're wasting your time because there isn't that much. You don't hear about it at all. On occasions, you hear about it in the news. But again, when you have as many cops as we have out there, from the FBI down to your local town policeman, and the number of attacks that are considered racist attacks by policemen, it is so insignificant, people, that it's a waste of our time to really talk about it. What the local communities have to do is say, oh, we don't like that, get that cop out of there. And if it's an egregious problem, fire him, get rid of him, put him in jail. And I used a case where down, I believe it was North Carolina, where the cop was chasing a guy down because he stole his taser. And he turned around, he told him to stop, and then shot him in the back. He needs to hang, plain and simple. I don't care what color the skin is. He needs to hang. There are other procedures that you can do to get that individual. And he just figured he'd go ahead and shoot him. Well, that's the South. You have to ask, is he a Democrat? We know that Democrats went and shot up the Republican softball practice, putting one Republican in the hospital. That's a Democrat. We know that the majority of the people in the concert in Las Vegas were Republicans. Because why? It was a redneck concert. 90% of the rednecks in this country are Republicans. And yet, either he was a Democrat or a socialist that wanted to disrupt our country. So he shot a bunch of people in the back as a coward would from a distance. Any cop that shoots anybody in the back is not a cop. He's a criminal. Should be arrested, charged. Now you take the kid in Peterson. That's what they said. He shot him in the back. Kid's hands were up, shot him in the back. When the truth came out, he was shot in the front, not in the back. And he was dying, and he put his hands up as he was dying, saying, I surrender. But it was too late. And again, the question is, what did that clown think he was going to accomplish by sticking his head into the police car, punching the policeman, and trying to take his weapon? Ask yourself that. The swamp people is Granny Nancy Pelosi. I don't even want to call her grandmother. She's a granny. She's an old, crusty thing that needs to go. Crybaby Chuck Schumer that would rather cry for illegals not being allowed to come into this country than cry for the American citizens who are in the streets starving and kids going without food and clothing and a roof over their head. He doesn't care about them. He cares about the illegals. Let's open up our borders. They did the same thing in Bolshevik Russia during the revolution. They allowed immigrants to come into the country, to flood the country, to destroy the way the Russian economy was going. And in doing that, won the revolution, and the Social Democrats at that time changed their name to the Communist Party. So when you hear Social Democrats in our Congress, people, those Social Democrats are nothing more than communists trying to destroy us. I will say it again and again and again. After World War II, the leader of Russia said to our generals that we will not conquer America by war, but we will conquer from within. How do you do that? You infiltrate the schools and take over the schools and brainwash the kids and dumb them down. Isn't that what's happening? You take over the government and go with anti-American procedures and laws. The Democrats are constantly talking about the rule of law, the rule of law, the rule of law. Yet we want illegals to come into this country. We want them to break the law. But American citizens have to live by the rule of the law. You cannot lie to the FBI, but the FBI can lie to the American people. That's the Banana Republic. That's the Communist Party trying to take over. And the other thing they take over, the news media. They become the propaganda machine for the Social Democrats, so that the Social Democrats can control. I have to pray. I have to keep my fingers crossed. I have to do whatever it takes to believe that in this midterm election, Republicans will get out there and vote for Republicans to take offices away from the Democrats so that we can accomplish more in this country. Making America Great just started, but it will stop as soon as the Democrats take control. And they will bring us back down. Why? Because they want socialism in this country. I've said it before. The UN wants a socialist one world government under the UN by 2030. And the only way to do that is destroy the the Democratic Republic of America, and make them socialists. Because 90% of the country, or the world rather, is socialist. You want to see how bad socialism is? Look at the stories about Venezuela. Look at the stories about California. Because California has turned socialist, the whole state. And the Republicans that are living out there, that are refusing to pay the high taxes, they're moving out. They're not going to be bled to death so that illegals coming into this country can get free medical while they're sucking their pockets dry, and get a free education while the American people are being sucked dry. And I want to send a letter to Donald Trump and say, listen, California wants to be ignorant, pull some bases. Move some of those bases out of California and stop paying them for the rent on the bases. Stop that military government income coming into the state, and watch how it devastates that state even more. They're $50 billion in the hole, and they're spending more money. They're going to, which they already have, they've failed. And there's nothing that the state can do other than say, fine, let's declare bankruptcy. And it's the Silicon Valley that's keeping those people alive. That and the federal government. Pull military bases and watch the decline of that state even more. They deserve it. You don't want to go along the program, you lose the benefits. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pastor Bruce. Thank you very kindly for listening. I hope you take it to heart. If anything, go out and do your own research and own study and see that what I'm talking about is correct. Don't listen to the mainstream media because they're anti-Trump, and nothing that they're going to say is going to be anything but negative against Trump and the Democratic Party. I'm sorry, the Republican Party. They're going to support the Democrats as much as they possibly can to put them back into power. And the thing is, we need to stop them. We need to stop them. So understand, it's important to get out and vote for you Republicans. And for you Democrats, if you open your eyes and see the truth, you'll vote Republican as well. So God bless, take care, and we'll talk soon.